did the right thing, but you have no idea what you took away from the rest of us.
The Last of Us Season 2 seems to be addressing a major villain issue from the game, and we might finally see why Joel kills so many people and how it ties into Season 2. With HBO's first teaser for the new season out, there's a lot to discuss, like the importance of the Seraphites in The Last of Us Part 2. So let's dive into everything you need to know about Season 2 of The Last of Us. HBO's first look teaser for The Last of Us Season 2 hints that the show's second season will address a significant villain problem from the second game, The Last of Us Part 2. Following the dramatic events of Season 1's finale, the story will delve into the aftermath of Joel's controversial decision at the Salt Lake City Hospital, where he killed everyone to save Ellie, preventing the Fireflies from finding a cure. After the escape, Joel lies to Ellie about what really happened, and they keep her immunity a secret, with only Joel's brother Tommy, Gabriel Luna, knowing the truth. Eventually, Joel confesses, leading to tension between him and Ellie, who feels betrayed by his choice to prioritize her over a potential cure. At the start of TLOU 2, Joel is killed by Abby, the daughter of one of the doctors he killed, which sets Ellie on a path of revenge. But Abby is just one of many villains in The Last of Us Part 2. That said, HBO's The Last of Us really needs to bring in the Seraphites earlier this season. In The Last of Us Part 2, the Seraphites are a big deal, but their role gets a bit overshadowed by the main Ellie versus Abby plot. While it doesn't seem like Catherine O'Hara will play the Seraphite Prophet after all, these characters are still a crucial part of the game, and should be for the HBO show too. In the game, Ellie tracks Abby to Seattle, where Abby has joined the Washington Liberation Front after her father's death. Seattle becomes a battleground for the WLF, Fedra, and a mysterious group called the Seraphites. Even though the Seraphites and their leader, the Prophet, are a significant threat, their story feels a bit tacked on at the end. As Ellie explores Seattle, she encounters hints of the Seraphites and learns about the Prophet's rise to power and their strict, tech-free lifestyle. Years later, the Prophet's influence still looms large over the Seraphites. As for why the Seraphites are such a big deal in The Last of Us Part 2, well, they're pretty central to the drama between Ellie and Abby. The game tells its story in a cool, non-linear way, showing Ellie's quest for revenge and Abby's journey as she seeks her own form of payback. Abby, who's a soldier with the WLF, gets caught up in a conflict between her group and the Seraphites. At first, we see hints of the Seraphites as Ellie explores Seattle. But things really heat up when we switch to Abby's perspective. Abby's ex, Owen, gets captured by the Seraphites, which leads her to go undercover in the cult. She eventually gets saved by Yara and Lev, ex-Seraphite siblings branded as traitors, which shifts her whole story focus. With Season 2's cast not fully revealed yet, it makes sense for the show to stick with the game's plot and include these key characters. The Seraphites play a huge role in the overall story, so they're definitely important to include. And let's be real, HBO's The Last of Us 2 could definitely improve on how it handles the Seraphite story. While the Seraphite cult is an intriguing set of villains, their story feels pretty tacked on and late in the game. TLOU 2 broke new ground with its non-linear storytelling and shifting perspectives, which was a bold move. Some players weren't thrilled about playing as the person who killed Joel, but it worked well overall. The downside is that this approach pushed Abby's story and the Seraphites to the back burner for too long. Luckily, it looks like Season 2 might fix this issue and give the Seraphites the attention they deserve. One of the biggest questions after the end of The Last of Us Episode 9 is whether a cure for cordyceps could actually have been made. When Joel wakes up in the hospital, Marlene explains that the Firefly's head surgeon believes Ellie's immunity comes from the cordyceps in her system since birth, thanks to her mother Anna being bitten during labor. This special strain of cordyceps acts like a barrier, tricking new infections into thinking she's already infected. The plan was to remove these cordyceps, multiply the cells that act as chemical messengers, and use them to create a vaccine for the wider population. However, both Episode 9 and the original game keep things ambiguous about whether a cure is truly possible. On one hand, Ellie's unique immunity could be the key to making a cure work. On the other hand, Marlene's use of thinks suggests even the surgeon isn't sure it'll succeed. Despite this, the desperate state of the world means any chance at a cure would be worth pursuing. Ultimately, the ending leaves us with uncertainty, reflecting the complicated nature of Joel's decision to save Ellie. And when it comes to why Joel kills so many people and how it sets up season 2, the answer is pretty straightforward. Joel's deep love for Ellie is what drives him. After losing his own daughter, Sarah, and becoming a hardened, grief-stricken man over the years, Ellie becomes his new surrogate daughter. He's willing to do anything to protect her and make up for his past failures, including killing all the Fireflies who want to use her to make a cure. This controversial choice sets the stage for season 2, where Joel's actions lead to his own death at the hands of Abby, the surgeon's daughter. This, in turn, fuels Ellie's quest for revenge, diving into a dark story about love, loss, and the destructive cycle of vengeance. We already know what's coming up for Joel and Ellie from the second game, and it looks like HBO's season 2 will follow a similar path. After the dramatic ending of episode 9, Joel and Ellie head back to Jackson to live with Tommy's community. Season 2 is expected to pick up where things left off, with Joel revealing to Tommy what really happened in the hospital. As time passes, Joel grows closer to Ellie, but she starts pulling away due to her growing mistrust of his lies. The story then jumps 5 years ahead, showing Joel and Ellie in Jackson, but with their relationship strained from Joel's earlier decisions. Joel will eventually face severe consequences for his actions when the surviving Fireflies find and kill him. This event sets Ellie on a path of revenge, which will be the central focus of Season 2. The core of Season 2's story in The Last of Us will revolve around Ellie's quest for revenge, which is intense and compelling, but it might not have enough substance to stretch across the 4 or more seasons HBO is planning. Whether Season 3 focuses just on Abby's perspective or not, the Seraphites are a key part of the story, and it's great to see them being introduced sooner than expected. HBO's plan to split the next chapter of The Last of Us into multiple seasons suggests that Ellie and Abby's Seattle storylines will each get their own season, which seems like a smart move. While there's some skepticism about Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann's plan to stretch The Last of Us Part 2 over 2 or even 3 seasons, the game is packed with storylines that can be well suited for TV. With no set photos of Caitlin Dever yet, it's likely that Season 2 will cover Ellie's 3 days in Seattle, and Season 3 will focus on Abby's days. There are potential downsides, like missing Ellie for a whole season, which could be problematic for marketing, and the long break between seasons might lessen the impact of Abby's storyline. However, dedicating a whole season to Abby's perspective seems like the best approach. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. What are your thoughts on HBO's plan to split The Last of Us Part 2 into multiple seasons? Do you think focusing on Ellie and Abby's storylines separately is the right move, or would you prefer a different approach? Let us know in the comments.